In this tutorial we're going to be adding a border to the Hexadaisy blanket. If you'd like to find out more about this pattern and see the other tutorials for the blanket, I will link them down in the description. So to start the first round of our border, we're going to be starting in the top left corner of the blanket. Specifically, we're going to be starting in this corner here, not this one up here, this one here in the top corner of your blanket. We're also going to be working this first round from the wrong side, and that helps counteract any skewing from our crochet stitches all being the right side up. So I'm going to flip my blanket over, and then I'm going to join yarn to this corner and I'll zoom you in. So we're zoomed in on this corner, and before we start I just want to note that I'm using a contrast colour for the border, whereas in the pattern it says to use the cream colour. I'm using the contrast colour because it's easier for you to see the stitches in this video. So now we're ready to join the yarn. So in this corner space you should have 3 single crochets. So if I flip this over so it's a bit easier to see, we've got 1, 2, 3 stitches here. We're going to be joining our yarn to the second single crochet, so that central single crochet, just there under both loops. And to join the yarn, just lay the yarn tail over your hook and pull up a loop. Then move the tail off to one side so it's out of the way, and we can crochet over the top of it to help with weaving ends in later. We're now ready to start round 1. Start with a chain of 1. This does not count as a stitch. Now work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Now work 1 single crochet into the next 15 stitches. So I'll just skip ahead until I've done those 15 single crochet. So I've just done my 15 single crochet, and the final single crochet should be in that first single crochet of the corner group of 3 single crochets. Now into the next stitch, which should be the second stitch of that 3 groups, so that corner stitch, work 3 single crochet all into that stitch. So we're now at sort of the upper point, sort of the hill of the zigzag edge of the blanket. Your blanket has 2 sides that are straight and 2 sides that have this zigzag shape. So we're going to be doing some increases up at sort of the hill of that zigzag, and then decreases down at this valley. So I'll show you what that looks like. So make a single crochet in the next 15 stitches, and I'll just speed this section up again. So I've done my 15 single crochet, and the next stitch should be the one that we stitched through when we did that join here. So that's again that corner stitch, that second single crochet, and we're going to skip that. So we're skipping this stitch and the same stitch that's been sewn through on the next hexagon as well, and that's how we're going to be doing a decrease in these sort of the concave corners. So here we're skipping this, and then the next single crochet is in this stitch here. So I'll bring that up just a little bit for you. So we're skipping this stitch and this stitch because they have been sewn through when we joined it, and I'm single crocheting in this stitch here. Now single crochet in the next 14 stitches, so all of the single crochets up until you get to that corner stitch, that second single crochet of the 3 single crochet group, and then we're going to repeat what we've done. So up in this top corner, once you get to these 3 stitches, in that second stitch you would work 3 single crochet. So continue working in this manner along the whole zigzag side of your blanket, and then meet me back over in this final corner here when you get to a corner that is not joined, and I'll meet you here and then I'll show you what we're doing on the next side of the blanket. So I've continued working along the zigzag edge of my square, and now I'm at where my blanket transitions to a straight side rather than a zigzag side, and in this final corner I've done exactly the same as we did in this convex corner over here where we did 3 single crochet in that corner group. And then working along the side of the blanket is going to be similar, but we're going to be doing something different once we reach where a hexagon joins a half hexagon. So work a single crochet in every stitch until you reach that join between the hexagon and the half hexagon, and again I will skip ahead to that bit. So I've continued working single crochet until I end up at the next join, and if you can see here, it's a bit hard to see because the yarn is cream, but the next stitch is the one that's had that stitch through on the join, so that's my next stitch. And unlike when we did this join here, we're going to be working into those stitches on the straight side of the blanket but not on the zigzag side. So into that first stitch that's been sewn through, work 1 single crochet. Then we're going to skip this join here, and into the next stitch on the half hexagon that's been stitched through, we're going to work 2 single crochet, and this ensures that you then end up with a straight edge to crochet into on the next round. So continue doing this along the straight side of your blanket, working 1 single crochet into every stitch, and then when you come to a join, work a single crochet in the first stitch that's been sewn through, and then 2 single crochet in the next stitch, all the way until you reach the zigzag border, and then repeat those steps that we did for the zigzag side and then again to the straight side, and that is how you crochet round 1. I'll meet you back at the end of the round and I'll show you what we're doing for round 2. So I finished crocheting around my blanket, but I haven't joined the end of round 1 yet. And that's because what we're going to do before we join is work 1 more single crochet back into that stitch that we joined the yarn. So it should already have a chain 1 that doesn't count as a stitch and 2 single crochets. So we're going to finish off that 3 single crochet corner by working a single crochet into that stitch. Now slip stitch into the first stitch, and that should be the corner stitch of this corner, so that second single crochet of that 3 single crochet corner. So I've done my slip stitch. Now we're ready for round 2. To start round 2, work a chain of 3. This counts as a double crochet. Now turn your blanket over. Rounds 2 and 3 of the blanket are now worked from the right side of the blanket, and hopefully working that round of single crochet from the wrong side will have counteracted some of the curl you might get in these corners over here, and also help with any skewing of your stitches. So the next part of your blanket should be a straight side of your blanket and not the zigzag side. Work a double crochet into every stitch across until you get to the next corner. So our first double crochet is not going to be here because that is our slip stitch. Our first double crochet is going to be in this stitch here. So work a double crochet into every stitch across until you get to a corner, and then meet me back here. So I'm at the next corner, so I'm going to work 4 double crochet into that second single crochet of the corner. That corner stitch, you might find it helpful to pop a stitch marker in them so you don't just crochet past them. So there is my 4 double crochets in that corner space. And if I have a look along the side of the blanket, my next corner is one of these valleys of the zigzag. So work a double crochet into the next 14 stitches, and then I'll meet you down here once you've worked those 14 double crochets. So I've worked those 14 double crochets, and I should now be 2 stitches from where we crochet over into the next hexagon on that round. So I've got 2 stitches left before this join here. So what we're going to do here is a decrease stitch. We're going to do a stitch that's specifically called a double crochet 4 together, and that's abbreviated as DC4 tog in written patterns. And what this will do is this will decrease 4 stitches down to 1 stitch. And I am going to take you through the stitch step by step. If you've done cluster stitches before but never done decreases, it is fairly similar to a cluster stitch. So to make this DC4 together, first of all yarn over and put your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You now should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. So now stop. So what we've done here is we've made a partial double crochet. We've not done that final yarn over and pull through 2 to finish off the double crochet stitch. So this is called a partial double crochet. And we're going to be working 3 more partial double crochets into the next 3 stitches. So in the next stitch, so yarn over, put your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we've got 2 partial double crochets on a hook and 3 loops. Yarn over, put your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to do 1 more partial double crochet, yarn over, put your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So at this point you should have made 4 partial double crochets and you should have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. So what we've done there is we've decreased 4 stitches into 1 at the top, and this is exactly what we're going to do at every one of those dips, every one of those concave parts of the zigzag along. So we're going to repeat this all the way along the zigzag side of the blanket, working 14 double crochet here, and then working 4 double crochet into the top corner, and then 14 double crochet, and then this double crochet 4 together stitch. Don't forget, you can slow down these tutorials and rewind them if you want to see the making of this decrease stitch again. So continue doing this along the zigzag side of your blanket, and I'll meet you back over at the final corner. So I've continued working along this edge, and then in this final corner work another 4 double crochet, and then repeat those steps around the blanket, working 1 double crochet into every stitch along the side of the blanket, and then those peaks and troughs just as we've done with the increases and the decreases, and I'll meet you back at the end of the round. So I've finished working all the way around my blanket up to the final stitch, which is that final corner stitch. We can see that it's the second single crochet of this 3 single crochet corner, and it's the same stitch that we did our slip stitch and chain 3 into on the last round. So to finish off this final corner, work 3 double crochet back into that stitch. To finish off the round, slip stitch into the top of the starting chain. So on round 3, we're not going to be doing any increases or decreases on either the convex or concave, or I keep changing the language that I'm using, but I just mean sort of the points and the troughs of that zigzag side of the blanket. We're not going to be doing any increases or decreases, we're just going to be doing the same stitches all the way around the blanket. So start round 3 with a chain of 1, this doesn't count as a stitch, and then into the next stitch we're going to work 1 single crochet, chain 3, and then another single crochet back into that same stitch. So into that 1 stitch we've worked single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. Now skip 2, so skip, skip, then work that group into the next stitch. So single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and then skip 2 and repeat. And you're going to repeat this all the way around your blanket, no matter what side of the blanket you're on, and then meet me back at the end of the round up here, because we might have some confusion just about this final part of the blanket. Once you get to the end of round 3, you might have 1, 2 or 3 stitches left unworked here. It doesn't really matter, it depends on the size of your blanket, if you've accidentally skipped some stitches, so it doesn't matter if you've got 1, 2 or 3 stitches here. Skip over them and then either slip stitch into the top of the first stitch, fasten off and weave in your ends, or you could do an invisible join here if you want to. I hope you've enjoyed crocheting your Hexadaisy blanket. I will see you next time for another crochet tutorial.